Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Ys VIII Lacrimosa of Dana Inferno walkthrough. Right now we're doing Franz's side mission. This is a fight against 3 waves of Ys saws. These things are probably the most annoying enemy in the game. They're incredibly fast, they're incredibly aggressive, and they have the ability to knock you on the ground, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to get back up. The game just lets you up when it wants to, and in the interim they could have pretty much murdered your entire extended family because it's that long. You do not ever want to get knocked down by this enemy. If it knocks you down, you're done. There's just no two words about it. It's really frustrating. But once you do this, you're going to unlock the best recipe in the game. So, very, very useful meal right there. But in this video, we're going to be covering the Lacrimosa as it kicks off. We're going to be taking on the Erythros boss, and we'll be doing the final Master Kong fight. So at this point in the game, the Lacrimosa has gone into full effect, and it's causing all kinds of chaos to run rampant on the world. And at this moment, to showcase what that means, it's populating all of the standard areas with these new primordials that no one's ever seen before. I'm not going to go into why this is happening, because you might care about the story. This walkthrough is not really about the story as much as I'd like to discuss it, because it's kind of interesting. I like it a lot towards the end. But what this means is, I'm going to be running for my goddamn life, because these things are so fast. They're so fast, and they chase. They chase for an eternity. You will never, ever get hounded, as you do, by that enemy that you saw me kill at the beginning of the video. The Ys saws are just absolute dickheads. They're a horrible enemy. And they're not hard, they're just, it's the scream. The scream is a knockdown, and unless you guard it, or dodge it, or are invincible, it's just eat a mandatory knockdown and then they can do whatever they want. Like if you're playing Smash Ultimate right now, it's like being hit by the roller, by the Inkling, and there's just nothing you can do afterwards. You can mash all you want, but she's still going to get a free hit afterwards. It's the same concept. It's really stupid. But you can't warp right now. You have to face all of these planes again. And it's kind of ironic that they make you face, admittedly, the worst planes in the game, in my opinion, to get back to where we need to be. And there's tons of dinosaurs here, so if you want to use this as an opportunity to level up, now is the time. These things are very high level, they're very dangerous, and they'll probably drop really good stuff. A little bit later on, you're going to be able to do a quest that's going to get you an item that enables you to do more damage to Saurians, which can be an absolute godsend for killing these enemies. I'm not going to be getting it in the walkthrough because I'm not going to be doing that mission, but I definitely recommend that you do. It makes some of the hunts easier, it makes a few things easier, and it'll make farming easier just because you'll do more damage. But I found it really funny that they keep all the original enemies. If they'd removed the original enemy placements and then just stacked this place to the brim with tough dudes, I would have probably maybe entertained it a little bit more. But because there was already 40 enemies in every zone here, and they just add 40 more, it's just really, really weird, in my opinion. I'd love to fight that stupid Pete's Dragon that I keep running past. You see the guy who's got like the crazy sneakers on and the speed lines on him, the luminous orange speed lines to make him go faster? I'd love to showcase fighting him, but every time he turns up, he's surrounded by normal dudes. And you can see here the mist that generates these monstrosities. As you move over to the camp here, and cook a meal if you need it. We've come to the temple approach a few times, but there's not really much to do here because it's a tiny zone. But once again, even this part of the temple approach, at this moment, I can warp backwards, but I can't warp forwards. Did you notice that? As we go up onto the top of the temple here. Consulting the map. Just to see if I'm on the right path. We're moving towards the tree, so we need to go to the left. There are times, though, when I don't trust my sense of direction, so it's always nice to have a reference. And then we're on the bridge, which you know what this bridge is going to be, because you've seen this before. So you're forced to move forward on this bridge repeatedly for plot points, and then it's eventually going to separate you into just being Adol, and then from there you're going to have to run past a whole bunch of fog to get to the fight that's the exact same as the previous one. And there's a good reason for that, which I kind of appreciated, because you can think of this as a trial. This is a trial of worthiness. And one thing I didn't mention on the previous version of this creature, his head is his weak point. So when you hit him in the face, you do yellow damage, signifying that it's a critical hit. And Hitting him in the face does considerably more damage than anywhere else on his body, so you definitely want to do it. And the strategy is the exact same as the previous one. Stay aggressive, stay in front of him, dodge into his big attacks to get flash move and then stack flash guard, and then finish him off. The only real peril here is standing on those lava pits on the ground, but you can actually guard them, so you can use them to give you a flash move and a flash guard if you want to. But you don't need to, because look how dangerous our Adul's become. That's the difference between Dana and Adul. Where she was in her story and where we are in ours, vastly different places. We absolutely demolished that guy, and we were the exact same level as him, I think. Just goes to show how strong he's become. I love that map, by the way. That is a beautifully designed map. It's got some function, so it's not complete creativity, but visually, the lines of it, the aesthetic of it, stunning. Really, really appreciate that. But back in Eternia, this is a really interesting point in the story, and it's going to make moving through this zone a little bit more difficult. There are a couple of side quests here, I think, and if you're wanting to do them all, just look for the green emblems. The green emblems signify you can interact with something. I'm going to be going straight for the mission, so I'm going to be charging the gold emblem. And then we're back on the plains. So now we can do some fighting, do some leveling, but once again, I'm not going to be doing that with Dana, because there's no real need. There's still a bunch of failed Pokemon knocking around if you want to beat on them. A Soilia with his mucus and his warm lumber. Where the fuck does a plant keep warm lumber, dude? I don't understand. Plus, you haven't seen too many instances of me upgrading the base with the barricade and everything with Dogi, because it's not featured much in the guide. However, I'm still doing it because it's very useful. I like this zone as well, because you can see the draw distance. One of the interesting things about this being a portable game is I imagine that they did some trickery to perhaps not display all the draw distance at all the same time. Of course, on the PC, they don't have to worry about that because there's way more power. And I should really play this on PSP just to see the difference, see the changes. Maybe that's something I'll do eventually when I eventually get a PSP. A Soldiant, that's what this guy's name is. He drops a cursed shell, strong shells and sturdy bones. All of those resources are kind of dated for where we are, but they're still good to have, as I beat up this ant with my crazy combos. It's really interesting that this weapon that she's using is essentially half of a giant sword, a curved giant sword, this circle of swords that she's wielding, this tiny chick. And then the game gives a pretty decent reasoning as to why she's so strong, which I appreciated, even though it didn't have to. Because I was just thinking anime, you know. The rules of anime dictate that she must have no clothing on and wield huge swords. But hit the save crystal, push on into the King's Road. You'll notice that this is indeed the Lodinian marshlands, but there's no marsh now. This is back when the road was intact, and there's going to be a couple of dinosaurs in here. Some of the typical saurians from Dana's time. However, compared to the ones you were just ducking, these guys are nothing. They're so relaxed compared to those other douchebags. They're like crack-addicted pit bulls, those other ones. They were up on you. And then if you remember, when we came this way to the Valley of the Kings, I said if you moved on over here, you would have an opportunity as Dana in Eternia to do something, and this is your opportunity. This is going to unlock a sequence to go over here, which is kind of cool. So pick up hopefully the ancient stone, but we didn't get any. And am I going to break the other one? I think I am. Interesting that I didn't interact with that. I think it's because I wanted to focus on the guide, but you can interact with it and do something to it, and I recommend that you do. Because she plants a tree, and then the tree grows in the future and it enables you to go that way. But business. Look at that as well. That is one of the douchiest spawns in the entire game. It's really bizarre. It just drops a bunch of random velociraptors on you. It's really funny. And I imagine if you have an extra gauge, just then you can kill them all and get a ton of experience, but I don't have it. But we need to continue onwards to Seren Garden, and that's where we are now. One of the most important parts of the game. But we're transitioning from the cutscene into the Master Kong fight, and because the Master Kong fight is so late, and because our Adol is so strong, I'm actually over-leveled for this. I'm a single level higher than Master Kong. It really doesn't matter though, because he would have died regardless. I could have taken this fight on the moment I got Force Edge, and I would have been fine, because his moveset never changes. But the move he's doing there, that move is what we're going to learn from him. That is the Brave Charger. That is arguably the most ridiculously powerful move in the game. It's so damaging, so quick, but it's expensive, and that's the drawback of it. So the strategy here is the same as the previous fights. Use his moves to get Flash Move and Flash Guard, and then punish him on all of them. And you're just too fast and too strong and too DPS heavy for this guy to really do much. And then what we're going to do now we have that ability, we're going to focus everything we can on leveling it up, because we're going to be using it a lot, so we want it to be the best it can possibly be. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.